In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Word Puzzles group in the Create tab of the Time Savers add-in. The Word Puzzles group is there to help you to create crossword puzzles and word searches as well as number and math searches as quickly and easily as possible. First, I'm going to show you the crossword puzzle tool. Anytime that you want to create a crossword puzzle, the first thing you need to do is fill in the number of rows and columns that you want your crossword puzzle to have. So I'm going to create one that has 10 rows and 12 columns. Okay, so I fill those values in. When you're creating a crossword puzzle, just be aware that the number of rows and columns that you fill in is the maximum number that your puzzle will have. Your puzzle may end up having fewer rows or fewer columns depending on where the words are placed when the puzzle is created. Okay, but it won't be more than the number that you fill in over here. Right, so now I've filled in the number of rows and columns that I want. Then I'm going to go and click on this button to get started. And then it brings up a new slide where I can go and fill in the clues and words that I want for my crossword puzzle. So I'm just going to paste those in because I've already got them ready. And now you'll see that there are some extra spaces left over. In previous versions of the Time Savers add-in, you needed to fill in the number of words that you wanted your puzzle to have. You no longer need to do that because when the add-in creates the crossword puzzle using the words that you filled in, it will just use the words that you have filled in, and if there are blank spaces, it'll just leave those out. Also, if you need more rows, you can feel free to go and add extra rows, and then you can put in more words and clues. So you don't need to worry about running out of space because the table isn't big enough. You can just add more rows. Okay, once you have added your clues and your words, you can then change the font if you want to. The default font when you are creating a crossword puzzle is Century Gothic, but if you want a different font, you can just select this table and go to Home and change the font over here. And when you've changed the font of this table, then whatever font you've changed it to, that is the font that will be used when you are creating your crossword puzzle. Okay, so I've changed my font to what I want it to be. And then the next thing that I've got over here is this shape that I can use to indicate the size and position that I want my crossword puzzle to be. Now, if I don't touch this, if I don't move it, if I don't resize it, then my crossword puzzle will just be sized and positioned automatically. So for the first example, I'm just going to show you where it gets sized and positioned automatically, but then I'll also show you how you can use the shape to show where you want the puzzle to be and the size that you want it to be. Okay, then we also have a few other options over here. So I've got an option where I can have a shadow for my crossword puzzle. I can also have a fillable crossword puzzle, and I can also insert the crossword puzzle as an image if I want to as well. At the moment, I'm going to keep all of those deselected for now, and I'm just going to go and create my crossword puzzle as it is for now. So while I'm creating this crossword puzzle, if there is any problem with fitting any of the words in, you'll be prompted to change the number of rows and columns so that the words can fit in better. But in this case, it was able to work. So this is what my crossword puzzle looks like when it's created. You can then go and change the title to whatever you need it to be. And then you can see over here on the first slide, this is the version that the students would receive, where you've got the crossword puzzle that's blank and your clues. Then if you go to the next slide, you've got the solutions for the crossword puzzle, where all the words have been filled into the crossword puzzle. So that's what happens when you create your crossword puzzle. Now, if you go back to the slide where you filled in all of the clues and the words, now I want to show you what happens if you use this to indicate the size and position that you want your crossword puzzle to be. Anytime that you come back to the slide where you've got your clues, you can recreate the crossword puzzle so long as you have the slide active. Okay, so I'm going to go and make this the shape and size that I want it to be. I want it to be in this position on the slide, and I want it to be about that shape. And then also I'm going to choose that I want my crossword puzzle to have a shadow, I want it to be fillable, and I also want it to be inserted as an image. So you can see what those different options are like. So if I now go and create my crossword puzzle, okay, so I haven't changed the words, but I've changed the positioning that I want my crossword puzzle to have, and I've changed these settings over here. I'm going to go and click on the crossword puzzle button again, and now it's going to create a new version of my crossword puzzle using these new settings that I've chosen over here. Okay, so now here's my new version of my crossword puzzle. Okay, so first I want to show you this over here. This is because I chose fillable. So if you look, this is a table that has been placed on top of the crossword puzzle, and it is a table that if you were to be giving this crossword puzzle to students in a digital format, they could then go and type the answers in by typing into the different cells in the table. So that's what the fillable option is for. So if you have this deselected, then this will not be inserted. You'll just have the normal crossword puzzle inserted. Okay. Then over here, the shadow option is what caused it to have the shadow. And then because I had image selected, the crossword puzzle was inserted as an image like this. So that makes it easier for you to resize the crossword puzzle and not have to worry about then having to resize the fonts, etc. It does mean that you can't go back and change the fonts if you want to. So you would have to recreate the crossword puzzle if you want to change the fonts. Although sometimes if you just press undo, so if I go Control Z, so undo that and that and that. Okay, so if I press undo, then if I delete that, this is the original crossword puzzle before it was inserted as an image. So sometimes if you press undo, you can actually remove the image and get back to the original crossword puzzle, but sometimes it doesn't necessarily work. So you may need to recreate the crossword puzzle from scratch. But all you need to do is come back to this slide and go and create it again. And then you can choose not to insert it as an image so that you have more control over the font, etc. Okay, so that is how you create a crossword puzzle. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to create a word search using the word search tool. So first I'm just going to go to the end over here so that I can do it after all of the crossword puzzles. When you're creating a word search, just like when you're creating a crossword puzzle, you need to first fill in the number of rows and columns that you want your word search to have. So I'm going to be using 8 by 10 for this example. Then you also have a few other options. You've got different options over here. You've got uppercase letters, lowercase letters, mixed letters. Then you've also got numbers and math. At the moment, I'm going to be doing uppercase letters. And then you can also choose which directions you want to include in your word search. So if you don't want any of the directions to be included, you just deselect those directions. By default, they're all selected, but you are welcome to deselect any that you don't want to use. Then also, just like with the crossword puzzle, you can choose if you want to insert the word search as an image. These two options are only for the crossword puzzle, but the image option is for both crossword and word search. Okay, I'm not going to be inserting as an image for now. I'm going to keep that deselected, but you can do an image if you want to. Okay, so once you've got all of your settings ready, you can then go and click on the word search button to start the process. So first, just like when we were doing the crossword puzzle, it brings up a slide where you can fill in your words, and then you can also fill in clues if you want to. When you're doing a crossword puzzle, you have to fill in clues. Okay, but when you're doing a word search, you have the option of filling clues if you want to. You don't have to. You can also just fill in words. So in this case, I'm just going to be filling in words, and then I'm going to go and create my word search. Once you have filled in the words, you can also change the font by changing the font of the table if you want to. It's not essential, but you're welcome to do that if you would like to as well, just like you could for the crossword puzzle. Okay, so once you have filled in your words and your clues if you want to, you can then go and click on the word search button again, and it will create the word search. Just before we do, remember this shape over here, it's the same as when you had the crossword puzzle. You can also position and size this shape however you want your word search to be positioned and sized. Okay, at the moment I'm going to leave it as it is so that it will just position and size it automatically. Okay, so now I'm going to go and click on this button so that I can create my word search. It brings up this message saying that there are some hidden space, or saying that there are some extra spaces left over, and I can put in a hidden message if I want to. So here you are welcome to fill in a hidden message if you would like. But if you don't want to, you can just leave that field blank and press OK, and it will just fill all of those spaces in with random letters. So once it's created your word search, you can then go and change the title to whatever is appropriate. Here is the hidden message. You may need to resize this so it'll fit properly on the page. In this case, it would need to be resized, and then you've got the words that the students need to find in the word search. And then on the next page, you've got the solutions. Okay, so here you've got all the words that are highlighted, where they are on the word search, and also the hidden message. The letters that are part of the hidden message are all in bold. The hidden message is then filled in over here as well. However, if you typed it into that field is how it will be typed in here. So if you typed capital letters into the field, there will be capital letters over here, or small letters and so on. Okay, so that's what happens when you create a word search. Now, we could also have created this word search. So if I go back to the slide again, I can recreate this word search using lowercase letters if I want to, or using all mixed letters if I want to. So if I show you the lowercase letters option, then everything is going to be inserted as lowercase letters. So let me quickly go and show that to you. And this time I'm not putting in a hidden message. Okay, so if you don't put in a hidden message, then that is just not going to be there at all. Then over here you can see everything in the word search is now lowercase, and there is our solution slide over there as well. Okay, then like I said, you can also have mixed uppercase and lowercase. So if you have, say, everything over here where the first letter is a capital letter, then you can also choose, when you're creating, to have mixed over here, and then any letter that is an uppercase letter here will be uppercase in the word search, and any letter that is lowercase here will be lowercase in the word search, and all the extra letters that are filled in will be mixed uppercase and lowercase. Okay, so if I go and click on here again, but first I'm going to just put this over here and show you how you can use this again, just like you could for the crossword puzzle, to indicate where you want your word search to be and what size you want it to be. So I'm going to go and click on here again. Now it's mixed, and I'm also going to change so that I don't have any diagonal directions, so you can see what it looks like if you choose to only have some of the directions. Okay, so if I go and click on here again, I have the option of putting in a hidden message. I'm not going to, so I'm going to just click on OK. And now you can see you've got a mixture of uppercase and lowercase letters in your word search. And on the next slide, where you've got the solutions, you can see all of the words in the word search are either vertical or horizontal, because that's what I chose over here. Some of them will be forward, some of them will be backwards, because I allowed for all of the horizontal and vertical directions. And so that's what happens when you have mixed. Now, like I said, just like for the crossword puzzle, I could have chosen to insert these as images if I wanted to, so you are welcome to do that as well. Okay, now I also want to show you another option that you have, so I'm just going to move this out of the way for now. You can also, like I said, put in clues. So let me just go and show you a different example. So if I've got the same words, but now I'm doing it with clues, this is what it will look like if you put clues in for a word search. Okay, so over here, I'm just going to go and create my word search. I'm just going to move this back here again. And if I create my word search, I'm not going to have a hidden message. And then instead of having a list of words, it now has the clues, and it has the spaces for them to write down what the words are. And then those are the words that they need to go and look for in the word search. Okay, so that is what you can do with the clues option. You also have the option of creating one. So I'm going to do a different one over here. So as long as I'm not on the slide with the table over here, if I click on this button, it will start a new one. So if I'm on a different slide over here and I click on this button, it will start a new one for me. Okay, so now I'm going to go and use clues that include a fill-in, or that have a fill-in-the-blank kind of format. Okay, so over here, I'm going to go and fill these in. Now, in order for you to have the fill-in-the-blank format, you just need to use underscores for where the word is supposed to be. Okay, if you want to have a fill-in-the-blank format, all of the clues have to be the same format. You can't have some fill-in-the-blank and some that aren't fill-in-the-blank. They have to all be fill-in-the-blank, otherwise it'll be treated the same way as this was, where we just had the clues and then the space for the answer to be written next to it. Okay, but if you want to have the fill-in-the-blank like this, then you just make sure that you have underscores for wherever you need the answers to be filled in. And then when you create it, I'm just going to change this back to uppercase. Okay, then when you create it, I'm not going to have a hidden message, and you'll see that the lines are there for students to then go and fill those words in, and on the answer key, the words have been filled in those places as well. Okay, so that's how it works if you want to do a fill-in-the-blank type of format for your clues as well. Okay, and then I also need to show you the numbers option and the math option. So for the numbers option, if you want to create a number search, so now I'm going to start a new one over here, and because I've got numbers selected, it now knows I'm going to be doing a number search. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and get the numbers I'm going to be using. So for this, I'm going to use these math questions, and I'm going to have those, sorry, I need to get the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to use the math questions and the answers. Okay, so over here, I'm going to fill those in as my clues and my numbers. And once I've filled those in, then I'm going to go and, because it's on numbers over here, I can just go and click on this. It's not going to ask if I want to put in a hidden message, because you wouldn't be doing that with numbers. And now you can see that they have the math question, and then they can go and fill in the answer for that. And once they've found the answer, they need to then go and find that in the math search. But over here, you'll see that it is 1 digit per block. Okay, so each of these answers will be split up over multiple blocks, and they'll have to find it in the same way that they would with a normal word search, where each character is in a separate block. And then this is what the solutions will look like. Okay, so that's how the number search works. Then the last thing I want to show you is the math search. The math search is a little bit different in the way that it works, because with the math search, each number is going to be placed, the whole number, into a single block, whereas with the number search, each digit is placed into its own block. Okay, so the math search is different. It also is different because the whole math statement will be placed into the math search, including any operation signs and so on as well. Okay, so let's go and have a look at how that works. So for the math search, I'm going to go and create a new one by starting over here. And I'm also going to make sure that I have all of my directions for this one. And then I'm going to go and insert my math statements that I'm going to be working with. So the math statements over here are different to in the number search. In the number search, I just put in numbers. But with the math statements, I'm putting in statements that include operation signs as well. Okay, then once you have put that in, you can choose to put clues in if you want to. I'm still going to show that to you in the next example, but for now I'm just going to keep it like this, and then I'm just going to show you what it looks like when you just have it like this. Okay, and I'm going to go and click on this button to go and create it. Once you've created it, it then asks if you want to hide the operation and equal signs on the math search, so the students will need to fill those in themselves. Okay, so you can choose if you want to have the operation signs and the equal signs hidden, so that it makes it a little bit more of a challenge for students to then go and find those math statements on the math search, and then they have to go and fill in the operation and equal signs themselves. Okay, so if you choose yes, then those will be hidden, and if you choose no, then they won't. Okay, so this is what your math search will look like if you just have the math statements, and if you choose to hide the operation and equal signs, and this is what your solutions will look like. If you choose to include your clues as well, all you need to do is copy the math statements that you have here and paste them over here. So I can go over here. You can turn these clues into fill-in-the-blank format clues, just like we could with a word search, by replacing things with underscores. So over here, I'm replacing the 5 with an underscore, then I'm replacing this 40 with an underscore, and so on. So long as I do that for each of the different math statements in each of the clues, then it will know that this is supposed to be fill-in-the-blank format clues, and it will treat it as such. Okay, so once you've done that, you can then go and create your math search again, this time using the clues with the fill in the blanks. And here you can choose once again if you want to have the operation signs or the equal signs hidden. In this case, I'm not going to hide them, I'm going to keep them there. Okay, then this is what it's going to look like if you have your fill in the blank clues. So now the students would have to go and work out what those values are, fill them in, and then they know what to go and search for on the math search, and you can then go and look at the solutions over here. You can see that those values have been filled in over there, and then they've been found over there. And that is how you use the word puzzles group in the Create tab of the Time Savers add-in. I hope that has been helpful, and I hope that you have a fantastic day. Thank you. Goodbye.